I would like to thank Underwood's Mazda in Colchester for lending me this, the Mazda CX30. It rivals cars like the Seat Ateca and Nissan Qashqai, and at the moment this car has a very important feature. It's available. It's August 2022, and if you want a new car, typically you're waiting from between 6 months and 2 years. But Mazda in the UK have over 600 of these in stock. So if you want one, you can get one from between 2 to 3 weeks. Therefore, I thought it would be a good time to review it. I'm going to start off with the looks, make up your own mind. This is the front. There's loads of little shapes in the grille that make it sparkle as you walk past. This is the side, quite a high window line, and this car is based on the Mazda 3. I parked them side by side, and the roof of the Mazda 3 came up to about here. So this small SUV is about that much taller than its car variant. And this is the rear. The button for the boot is there, and voila. Not all of them get that feature though. If you want that, you have to go for Sport Luxe or above. On the subject of the boot, it's 430 litres with the seats up and 1,406 litres with the seats down, which is what I'm going to attempt now. And if you have both the sound system, you lose 8 litres. So the parcel shelf came out easily enough, and then 2 little buttons either side to push the seats down, and you get an almost flat load area. You can get the CX30 with either front wheel drive or all wheel drive. You can have it with a 6-speed manual, which is a peach, or a 6-speed auto, which I haven't tried, but I hear it's good. There are 2 petrols available, both 4-cylinder, both 2 litre, no diesels. The lower powered petrol has 122 PS and the higher powered one has 186 PS. So a big difference there. A big difference in the 0 to 60 time as well. This lower powered one does it in 10.6 seconds, but the higher powered one does it in 8.3. There's a big difference to your wallet as well though, because depending on which trim level you go for, the price difference between the lower powered and higher powered engine can be between £2,500 and £3,500. And the problem is, both engines feel the same when you're below 3,000 RPM. So unless you like revving your engine, think before you spend that extra money on the higher powered variant. The rear doors open this much, quite a bit actually, and there's quite a lot of room to get in. That's easy. And when I'm in, there's plenty of room to put my feet under the seat in front. I could have big shoes on. This seat is set in my driving position. I'm 5'10" or 178 centimeters, and I have almost a fist of knee room. Seats feel very high quality back here and comfortable. Some lovely cool air coming out of these vents at the moment. It is hot today. That's hard plastic. Doesn't feel as high quality as the plastic on the doors, but it doesn't feel too bad. We have an armrest here. Let's pull that down. Nice and padded, 2 cup holders. My elbow goes there nicely without going in the hole of the cup holder. And we have some padding on the door as well. Lovely brown leather or fake leather, I don't know. And that's very padded. Shiny black plastic. More there. That's soft. All this is soft. Hard, hard, hard. Room for a relatively big bottle in there. And if I close the door, that makes a good sound. All these plastics, even if they're hard, they do feel high quality. Good visibility from the back out the front. I can see there, and I can see out of this window here. Although the window line's quite high, so not all children will appreciate that. Overall though, very comfortable back here. Couple of lights up there, which you can turn off and on individually. Bit flexible though, that roof. Doesn't feel of the highest quality. But other than that, I could do a very long journey back here. Getting in the CX30 is easy. And when you close the door, it does make a good sound. Now, instead of me making you wait as I show you how far forward the seat goes, etc., because it is electric, I'm just going to jump cut. This is how far forward it goes. Yep, this is definitely suitable for a Hobbit. This is how far back it goes. I can reach the pedals, but I can only press them about halfway down. This is the highest setting of the seat, and there's still room for my hand above my head. This is the lowest setting, and I can fit 2 hands above my head. The seat reclines quite a long way back, good for a sleep. And there's memory function in this model, so I don't have to remember where I left it. It was creaking because the lever was rubbing against the other lever as I'd moved the seat all the way back. It does one thing at a time though, so it's done half forward, it's done the back, and now it's doing up, and it also remembers the position of the mirrors. And there is plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel, up and down quite a bit and in and out loads. There's 5 trim levels available. I've made a note of the key features in each level. The base one is called the SEL. That gets auto high beam headlights, rear parking sensors, radar cruise control, which is good. It means you get radar cruise across the range, cloth seats, traffic sign recognition, blind spot monitoring, and this 8.8-inch colour screen. So you get this screen across the range. Moving up, you get the SEL Lux, and that includes auto dimming door mirror on the driver's side, so if there's bright lights there it goes darker so you don't get dazzled at night. Auto dimming interior mirror, heated front seats, drive modes on the automatic, dual zone climate control, front and rear parking sensors with camera, and keyless entry. Next up is the Sport Lux. You get the adaptive LED headlights. I like those, I have them on my MX-5, they work great. The electric boot that opens automatically, privacy rear glass, so that's the tints on the rear windows, sides and rear, and a frameless auto dimming rear view mirror. So it's a bit more stylish because, I don't know if you can see that there, there's no frame on this one, because this is actually the GT Sport, the next up. That's what I'm doing now. GT Sport, you get auto dipping mirror when reversing. So the passenger side door mirror dips when you put it in reverse. That really helps you see where you're trying to go when you're going backwards, particularly in a parking space. This black leather trim with brown accents, and I have to say, it looks expensive. The black and the brown really go. You don't see that too often in cars. I think that should be done more. Looks good. Electric driver seat with memory, as I demonstrated, heated steering wheel, and the Bose sound system, which I've tried, and it is good. It's better than most. Going up to the GT Sport Tech, that adds some extra safety features like a 360-degree camera, cruise and traffic support, which essentially means it will keep you in your lane on a motorway, and auto braking front and rear when you're at low speed. So if you're pulling out of a junction and it thinks you've missed something, maybe it's hidden by this pillar, it will brake for you. Or if you're reversing out of a parking space and it thinks you've missed something, it will brake also. I now want to give you a good look at the interior up front. I'm going to start with the door. That is soft plastic. This is soft. That's very padded. Nice armrest. Shiny black plastic here. This is hard, but feels of good quality. A big storage area down there for a large bottle, although I've only got half a litre at the moment. Coming around here, got something here to put some coins in. Not felt lined, but it does feel grippy. That's your memory seat, and to open your boot. These plastics feel of high quality but hard. Some more buttons here. So that's the automatic stop start. So you can turn that on and off. Traction control, parking sensors. Not sure what that one does. That's soft. Nice bit of chrome here. Relatively soft there. All soft, the brown bits. And moving on to the steering wheel. Really nice feel to it. Almost a perfect size for me. Good thickness and size. Got your cruise control buttons here. They feel really nice. Nice and like just high quality. Yeah, it feels like you're touching metal. I'm not sure if they are, but it feels like it. And this is your stereo. Automatic lights and high beams and automatic wipers, as you expect in this day and age. I've got the dials here, a bit hard to see this one because of the light. Maybe I can get a better view if I go there. That's your temperature and your fuel, and the central one, if I get a good, that's a better angle. There we go. You can change that. At the moment it's showing the MPG, and then you can see when you're driving each line either side of you, and you can have the analog style if you like. On the side here, this shows you your current miles per gallon, like your continuous miles per gallon, which at the moment is nothing because I'm not going anywhere, and then that's your average, which obviously doesn't represent this car because I am idling here with the aircon on because it's really hot today. And there's your rev counter, your tachometer. I'll give that a rev. It's quite hard to get a good view of these at the moment with the sun as it is. Another air vent here with this chrome around it. What I quite like is the chrome, how it goes from here right the way across the steering wheel, including this here, all sort of joins up. It's a nice line that goes right away around the car. Nice and soft, 8.8 inch display if I remember correctly. Climate control buttons, these feel fantastic. I'm really liking Mazda interiors at the moment. The quality, the fit and finish and the quality is superb. And it's simple, it's not complicated, it just feels good. Some storage down here, that's grippy. What's in there? 2 cup holders, shiny black plastic, although it's a bit different to normal because normally you just have this black plastic which scratches really easily. This still seems to scratch, but not nowhere near as easily. And what it is, it's like this clear plastic, and underneath there's this like black pattern. So it's not black plastic at the top. There's 2 dimensions to it. You probably can't see it in the camera, but there is something going on in there. This is the gear knob, obviously, feels nice. I was always worried that this chrome bit on top would start to look bad, but this car has nearly 7,000 miles on it and it still looks good. It's not got scratched up. Surprised by that. It's a bit of dirt in between the little grooves there, if you can see that, but no scratches. I'm impressed with that. This is brilliant. No touchscreen. Bit of a pain when you're driving. This is really easy to use. One of the best systems. You have your volume here. If you want to go up a track or back a track, you actually push it like that and that skips your track. So you can turn the volume up or turn it down or press it in to mute it. This is a nice big wheel where your arm rests here, which allows you to just rest, and you can go back with your thumb or home, and you can twist and press in, you push right, push left. Works really well and gets you to control this without having to look down or at the screen too much. That's your hold, your hill hold, and your electronic parking brake. Brown leather, very padded, lots of padding for the arms here. Nice driving position, could do a long journey in this car. You have to pull it back and then pull it up, and you've got some bits and bobs in there from the person who drives this car. That's where you plug your phone in for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. A bit of a pain though, because there's no real place to put your phone where it's secure, but I found if I sort of angle my phone diagonally in there, it doesn't move around. It's decent size. Let's close that. 2 air vents here for the passenger. Glove box, is it damped? Yes, it is. And what do we have here? We have a scorecard. I don't want to look at that. That's a golf scorecard because it is probably going to be a much better score than I can do in golf. There's some things in there, but it looks like an average size. I don't really fancy rummaging through somebody's stuff. Nice sort of satin chrome handle though. What else have we got? Buttons up here for the lights. Glasses holder. There's your SOS button. No panoramic sunroof on this, but it is available on other models. We have mirrors and lights. Do we get it on both sides? Yes, we do. I think that about sums up the front interior. It is nice. I'm going to start the driving off with manoeuvring. So reverse, gear stick down to the left and forwards, foot on the brake, press the parking brake button to turn it off, and I'm going to see if it will give gas for me automatically as I lift the clutch, or do I have to add the gas myself? Let's see. As I lift the clutch, the revs automatically rise, so there's power there. That's useful. Visibility out the sides, not too great. It does have a high window line, but the door mirrors, I can see quite well out of those because they're big and I can see down there via the door mirror. And on the passenger side, the door mirror is dipped, so I can see exactly what's next to me. If there's any lines there in a parking space, I'm going to know where I am in relation to that line. Visibility out the back, not great. There's a lot of pillars back there and small windows, but I have a camera and the resolution of that is a bit better than I'm used to. And front and rear parking sensors. I'm going to test out these sensors now. I'm going to see what they sound like when I get near the wall. Oh, quite a nice sound. not too excruciating. I'm going to see now if I can lift the clutch without gas and see if it gives gas for me when going forwards, because not all cars do. No, this one doesn't, so I'll start that again. If you want to move forwards, add your own gas. Turning circle, around about 11.5 meters. I'm very at home in this car. This is very average. The turning circle is exactly what I'm used to, so what I'm expecting. The car steers as much as I'm used to compared to how much I turn the wheel, so I can instantly get in it and maneuver it quite well. For those watching who will inevitably say that you can move the car forwards, no problem at all without using the gas pedal, yes you can, but only very, very slowly. I was just trying to make the point that this car doesn't give you much help when you lift the clutch. If you want to get going at any speed, that happens, it conks out. But the gas pedal is delicious, really nice to use. It's not one of those pedals where you press it a little bit and the revs go flying up. You can put them exactly where you want them to be. Quite like driving this car. Going onto a back road now, so I'm going to reset the trip computer and see how it does. So this is going to be testing driving dynamics. How sporty does it feel? Well, straight away I can tell you the engine is incredibly linear. It's not a turbo, so you don't get the sudden whooshes up the road. You put your foot down and it accelerates at that consistent rate, well, until it runs out of revs. Steering feels good. It does lean a bit more than obviously a car. It is an SUV, but not too much. I could be mistaken for driving a car right now, and that is a deer. Excuse me, deer. It doesn't have much power, particularly below 4,000 RPM. It's only a 40 limit here, so I've got to keep it within 40. A national speed limit coming up soon, where I'll drop a gear and see what the engine's like. Where is it? Here it is. So a little straight before the bend. Down in the second, lovely rev match. And yeah, the revs, it does start to build up progressively. As the revs get higher, it does actually accelerate a little bit harder, so it's not completely linear. It's good actually. But yeah, it does feel like it's a 10 to 11 second 0 to 60 car, and to get the most out of it, you do need to rev it. Feels stable. Not huge amounts of body roll. I am surprised considering it is an SUV. Lovely to rev match and quite a decent amount of grip, and I can feel how much grip there is as well. The pedals remind me of my MX-5. They are similar, and heel and toe rev matching is very easy. Just the responsiveness of the engine. It's not a fast engine, but it's responsive, which makes it feel good. I'm now going to try and launch it. No one behind, give some revs, bite point, full throttle, here we go. Come on. 40. And there's just about 60, coming to the bend now. When you rev it, it's not too bad, it does get going. But when the revs are low, it does feel a wee bit sluggish. This has to be one of the best SUVs I've driven on a windy road. It's almost car-like. I've got 36.3 miles per gallon, and I was driving in a spirited way. And the only problem is the Mazda 3 is better. The Mazda 3 on which this car is based, of course, it's a car, it's lower, it's lighter. This, by the way, is 1.45 tons. If you go for the Skyactiv X model, that's 1.5 tons. So SUVs do have everything going against them when it comes to driving down a twisty road. But this one does a good job. Now I'm going to try out the urban roads and see how it does there. Mazda makes some of the best manual cars. So easy to change gear and it's smooth. All you do is come off the gas, clutch down, move the gear stick, come off the clutch. And it's smooth every time because the car automatically rev matches the upshifts for you. The downshifts you have to rev match yourself with the clutch by holding it at the bite point or revving the engine, but very easy to do because of how responsive the gas pedal is. I'm impressed with the heads-up display. It's clear and crisp. You can adjust the height of it, you can adjust the brightness. It takes up about a third of the width of the lane, and it doesn't get in the way. But it allows you to know how fast you're going without taking your eyes off the road. It also includes the cruise control information as well. The car deals with the bumps quite well. It's a little bit firm, but not uncomfortable. Driving around town is relaxing. The adaptive cruise control is one of the better systems on the market. It doesn't slam the brakes on hard when the car in front brakes hard. It eats into the space and slows you down gradually. As it's a manual, it will make you take over control when you get to around about 12 miles per hour. But it does actually tell you to shift gears. If it wants you to shift gear, it will tell you, and it will keep the cruise control active. The climate control seems to have some kind of sun sensor, because when the sun is at the front, it does blow harder, and when the sun goes, it blows less. So it is intelligent. It's dual zone. I'm not sure if it can do the sun on both sides. Some cars will measure the sun on each side, and if there's sun on one side of the car, it will call that half of the car more than the side where there isn't the sun. The A pillar is placed quite well. It doesn't get in the way at roundabouts, although it is closer to my face. It feels closer than I'm used to, so I'm sure the blind spot it creates is probably slightly bigger, but it doesn't seem to be affecting me at the moment. The engine is incredibly smooth. It doesn't have much torque, but what many people don't tell you is, although it doesn't have much torque in terms of shoving you up the road really fast, it has tons of torque when it comes to being able to run smoothly at low RPM. I'm in fifth gear at the moment doing 28 miles per hour. It wants fifth gear. I'm pulling just over 1,000 revs, yet it's not struggling. The engine seems to never struggle, which is one of the reasons it's such an easy manual car to drive, because if you get the wrong gear, it doesn't matter, it just carries on. So yes, it doesn't have much torque. It's not going to shove you up the road quickly, but the engine is very flexible. The cylinder deactivation on this car, because it should be able to deactivate 2 cylinders, doesn't appear to be working, because throughout the time I've had it today, I've not seen it deactivate once. Maybe that's because the air conditioning is working quite hard. It is a hot day, 31 degrees it's saying there. I don't know, but I have used this engine in the Mazda 3 and it did deactivate sometimes, but only sometimes. It was really specific at when it would take action, usually when you're just on very light partial throttle. The mild hybrid system is a delight. Switches the engine off seamlessly, no vibrations, saving you fuel. I can push the clutch down, it doesn't start. I can put it in gear, it doesn't start. As soon as I come off the brake, the revs go up as if by magic. You don't hear a starter motor, the car doesn't shake, the revs are just there as if they were always there. So it's a genuine system that works well and saves you fuel. It does keep telling me where the speed cameras are, which can get annoying. I haven't been able to turn the system off. You may think, why is that annoying? And that's because, well, there's quite a lot of speed cameras on this road, and it doesn't tell you once, it tells you several times. It would be hard to get the wrong gear in this car. The gear stick self-centers positively and it goes into gear like silk. End of the urban drive and I've got 43.4 miles per gallon. That drive is mostly uphill and getting 40 miles a gallon is good. So this car did particularly well in that little test. Now it's time for the dual carriageways. Just reset the trip computer on a slip road, entering a 70 mile per hour dual carriageway. Couldn't accelerate quick there because of the lorry, but I can always drop a cog now and get going. Come on, here we go. And there's 70, straight up into 6th gear. Set the cruise control to 70, and it will keep a safe distance from the car in front. I'm impressed that the heads-up display doesn't lose much brightness even when the sun is directly on it. It's always clear. This is the adaptive cruise control working perfectly, gradually slowing me down, getting a little bit closer to the car in front. I really do like this system. It's how I would drive. And on the heads-up display, it's telling me if something's in my blind spot. This red car here passing me on the left. You could say I should be in that left lane, but I am set at 70 miles an hour, waiting to go past the slower van in the left lane. The distance I am from the car in front, that's done by Mazda's Radar Cruise Control. I can make that distance shorter if I wish, but I'm quite happy with this distance. It's worth noting that on camera, and I notice this when I edit these videos, things look a lot further away than they actually are. I want to try and do around about 20 miles at as close to 70 miles per hour as I can to get a good idea of what economy this car will do on a long motorway trip in the UK. The seat has good lumbar support, the armrests hold my elbows softly, and even the head restraint is actually quite nice just to rest your head on. I could sit here more or less all day. The computer just warned me that there was I just did it again, I don't know if you can hear it on camera, telling me there's a speed camera ahead and telling me to reduce the speed because I'm entering a 50. In fact, I went a bit over the top there and went down to just under 45, and it is average speed cameras. I'm just going to turn around at this roundabout and go back again, so I will be on the 70 mile per hour road as much as I can be. This is a noisy road, yet it's not too bad in here. There's not a huge amount of wind noise. There's more road noise than wind noise, but considering the road surface, I think this car is hushed. There's not many rattles inside the cabin, and the car does have nearly 7,000 miles on it, so it's not brand new. I know it's not old, but it has been used. Hopefully that means it will stay rattle-free for a long time yet. The cruise control slows down gently, but it also accelerates gently. So I'm going to move into lane 2 here. I'm set at 70 miles an hour, although I was doing 60 behind the white car, and it's gently increasing the speed. It's not harsh, and the closer I get to the set limit, the more gently it accelerates. So it is smooth, and now just about at 70 miles an hour. That's more how I would accelerate. The adaptive cruise control seems to be quite human-like, which I consider a good thing. Something I forgot to mention on the rural roads was just how good this brake pedal is. It's firm at the top, there's not much dead space, it's easy to use and judge. If you were a new driver and had never driven a car before, you could probably get in this car and use this brake pedal like you're an experienced driver. Mazda seem to get the brakes right in all their cars. The clutch is light as well, and as I've already mentioned, the gas is also easy to control. The mild hybrid system recuperates energy as you slow down and stores it in a battery. When you're driving like I am now, that means it can use that stored energy to power the electrical systems. The alternator, which is the device that creates electricity for your car, can use up to around about 10 Newton meters of torque from the engine. So if you're using that battery and that stored energy saved from slowing down, that saves you energy to power the wheels, but also it can make the drive more efficient. On the display I can see how full the battery is, and at the moment I'm not using the alternator, I'm just using the stored energy in the battery. And when you're doing higher speeds, it's more effective because if you slow down from a higher speed, you actually recuperate a lot more energy. So therefore, when you're driving, it lasts longer. And this is the computer talking there, don't know if you can hear it, talking over me, saying there's an average speed camera ahead again and asking me to slow down to 50 miles an hour. Useful, but also a little bit annoying. The mild hybrid system does impress me because whenever I look at the screen, it seems to be taking electricity from the battery instead of the engine. So it seems to be making the most out of recuperating the energy when it slows down and not having to rely on the engine to generate electricity. Instead, it generates most of the electricity when you slow down, stores it, and uses it as you drive along. Now the engine's charging up the battery. That's the first time I've seen that for a little while, and it's because I haven't slowed down much for a long time now. Still yet to see the cylinder deactivation system go into 2-cylinder mode. It's been in 4-cylinder the entire time, or no cylinder mode. That's when you're slowing down, you come off the gas, cuts fuel to the engine as you slow. Right now, it's slowing a bit and it's taking that energy from slowing down and charging up the battery. Still doing it, Still doing it now as I'm going downhill and the traffic's slowing down. That works really good. Coming into the end of my motorway trip now, it's around about 20 miles and I've done 49.3 miles per gallon. This is an SUV, albeit a small SUV, and it's petrol. So that's an impressive figure. If you were to do a long motorway journey, I'm sure you'll get around about 50 miles per gallon. That's imperial miles per gallon that we use in the UK. It's different to the US miles per gallon. So the Mazda CX30, room inside for a family. It feels expensive when you consider cars in a similar price point. Relatively easy to manoeuvre, around town a little bit firm but still very comfortable, especially in these seats. On a windy road it's good for an SUV, and on the motorway it's cosseting. I would like to thank Underwood's Mazda in Colchester again for lending me this so that I can review it. I think it's quite an important car to review at the moment because it is available and so many others aren't. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe to get my future videos. And until the next one, cheerio.